Inside Durango News is brought to you by the Durango Coffee Company, a special place for cooks, coffee, and friends.
You're watching a special year-end edition of Inside Durango News. I'm Jordan Alexander. Thanks for joining us. From record-breaking rockfalls on US Highway 550 north of Silverton to the temper-raising traffic delays during construction on the continuous flow intersection at US Highways 550 and 160, highway construction has dominated the news this year. It started this winter when a 15-foot thick slab the length of a football field came crashing down onto the slope 900 feet above US Highway 550, 2 miles south of Ouray. The rockfall occurred on January the 12th and the highway remained closed for a month. Another closure to clean up the mess lasted for 6 weeks in spring. The closures devastated the economies of Ouray and Silverton and forced drivers to take a 150-mile detour through Telluride. Governor Hickenlooper declared the area a disaster area, and both Silverton and Ouray saw significant drops in sales revenues. Then there were the improvements to the US Highway 550-160 intersection at the Doubletree Inn in Durango. The continuous flow intersection project was designed to reduce the time that cars waited for lights to proceed through the intersection before construction. Cars had to wait 2 minutes for a light change. The improvements reduced that wait to 30 seconds. And construction was hell for drivers. Inside Durango News correspondent Sean Ferguson took to the streets to find out how area drivers were coping with the construction.
Durango, it's Sean Ferguson, and man, it's loud out here at the Camino del Rio and College Drive intersection associated with the new construction, the CFI at 160 and Camino del Rio corridor. And this is IDTV's Spill It.
I like the look of what they're doing. Looks like we're getting some new sidewalks and better pedestrian areas. And I mean, the delay's kind of a pain, but I take the frontage road across Ninth Street Bridge, so it hasn't really inconvenienced me all that much directly.
And I think they just do it to have too much money and don't know what to do with it. And it's a very dumb idea. I'm going to mess up the whole city for 6 months.
Several days during construction, drivers experienced 45-minute delays. But all's well that ends well, and traffic is flowing smoothly just like planned. Then, the intersection inspired more controversy when a $25,000 public art sculpture was installed at the intersection. What was it? A rock? A worm? The arc of history generated lots of criticism and conversation, just like art is supposed to do. Again, we turn to Sean Ferguson to find out what Durango's thought about the, well, rock thing at the intersection really is.
I'm Sean Ferguson. This is IDTV's Spill It. As you can see, I'm in front of the sculpture at the 160 West 550 intersection. A lot of people up in arms. People have an opinion about this sculpture. We're going to find out what everybody's saying on this edition of Spill It.
First I thought it was awful. Now I'm kind of getting used to it. I wish it was up and down like trees or something, but what is it?
Oversized dead buzzard.
Yeah, what do you mean, the stone banana out there? Something stupid.
It kind of reminds me of books stacked together.
Waste of money.
What do you like about it?
Just very creative. I think it's very ingenious the way they made stones sort of be able to kind of float in the air. I thought it was it's very attractive, very genius.
I think my 2-year-old could have built that.
I just think it's so random.
Good with blocks?
Yeah. Stuck a bunch of rocks together and he could have called it good.
And he would have had a scholarship fund.
There you go, yeah.
And it's in the wrong place because sooner or later it's going to cause an accident. People get to staring at the dumb thing and forget where they're at.
What's it called? Does it have a name?
The community criticism of the artwork of 550 and 160 was nothing compared to the community's disdain for the bridge to nowhere, the $46 million highway exchange at Grandview. But late this year, we learned that the bridge to nowhere will finally be going somewhere. The Department of Transportation announced in early December that it had reached an agreement with landowners to realign US Highway 550 to connect with the Grandview interchange. US Highway 550 will be relocated away from Farmington Hill and will skirt the north edge of the Florida Mesa Rim to connect with the interchange to the east. Cost of the relocation project is estimated at $91 million for a 4-lane connection or $75 million for a 2-lane highway. Funding is dependent on a complex formula that Colorado legislators figured out a few years ago to get around the Tabor Amendment, a constitutional measure that limits the amount of tax revenue increases that the state can collect. If increases in tax revenue stay under 5% this year, there's a chance that the $91 million project will get funded. If revenues exceed 5%, most of the money will be refunded to taxpayers. Stay tuned. Money from everyone may turn into money from no one thanks to the Tabor Amendment. Up next, top economic and business news for 2014.